Okay, let's go. Right, this one's overdue, well overdue. But let's cover the basic skills you're going to need to get yourself a job as a junior DevOps engineer. A lot of the people that are getting in touch with me, the comments I've had, it's mainly people just trying to get their foot in the door. So now I'm going to cover just the core skills you need to get yourself a junior position. So starting with the number one, and this is, I believe, a pillar, if not, it should be a pillar of the DevOps principles. I don't know who came up with that and whether it's actually a relevant thing, but I've came across it in some blogs online, so I thought it worth mentioning it. Number one is getting yourself familiar with a cloud platform, whether that's AWS, Azure, Alibaba Cloud, that's what it's called, and GCP. They're the main ones really. So depending on where you are in the world, but mainly in the West, it's Azure and AWS. So yeah, the number one pillar is being cloud native. So get familiar with the cloud platform and understand the core resources. So these are going to be compute, storage and networking. These three, I think once you've boxed these off, understand what they are and the offerings that the cloud has for these services and resources, then that's the main thing really. Once you box these off, understand what there is, what the cloud offers, then you'll be ready to move on to the next set of skills. It's definitely worth sitting some of the foundation exams. It'll only take a couple of weeks to a month at most. You got AZ 900, AWS Cloud Practitioner, and I'm not familiar with the two, with the foundation exams for the other two. But yeah, definitely worth sort of at least studying for the exam. You don't have to sit it, but if you study for it, you'll understand a lot of the core resources anyways. That's part of the learning pathways. But yeah, so once you got that boxed off, we'll move on to the second set of skills that I recommend picking up. And we'll cover that once I'm back from the gym. Also, I'm well overdue a trim, so got the snapback on. Looking and feeling a little bit scruffy, but it is what it is. My hair's a fucking mess at the moment. Okay, so tip number two, tool set number two that you need to know. The second set of tools that you need to know to get yourself a job in DevOps as a DevOps engineer or in the cloud space. This is going to be infrastructure as code, config management. And what I mean by this is, now that you've been accustomed to the cloud, you need to learn how to deploy resources to the cloud. So generally for infrastructure as code, the go-to is Terraform. Terraform's cloud agnostic, so you can use it for both AWS and Azure. It's not as simple switching between the two. There are some differences, so just bear that in mind. But Terraform is pretty much a solid option if you want to pick one. There's also CloudFormation, which is specifically just for AWS. And for Azure, if you ever find a role that specifies ARM templates, yeah, just run for the hills with it. It's not worth it trying to do anything with ARM templates. It's such a pain in the arse. I suggest Bicep, learn Bicep. Bicep's pretty much very similar to Terraform, and it's something that Azure, well, the guys at Microsoft created because they realized themselves, I'm pretty sure they realized that ARM templates were not very human friendly, so bear that in mind. But you could go in and suggest it if you do pick up a junior role. You could easily go in and suggest using Bicep instead of ARM templates. That's what I done. But yeah, so that's a solid option. Another solid option is Ansible. Ansible is generally used for config management. So once you've deployed your resources, you then connect to the servers and install what you need to install, configure the servers how you want to configure them, really. But I have previously used somebody watching me. Yeah, so I've previously used Ansible to deploy resources, and I use it for config management as well. So bear that in mind, that Ansible's pretty friendly for both AWS and Azure. I don't think the modules differ too much as well, so it's easier to learn. And one other thing Ansible is good for, so this is a bonus one right now, it's just passing in scripts when it comes to config management. So just say you want to move a file around, etc. You can just pass in a script, whether that's Bash, PowerShell, whatever really. So Ansible's pretty handy. What I recommend out of them, to be fair, I recommend starting off with Ansible and then picking up Terraform. I think that's a pretty good way to go about it, because with Ansible you get the infrastructure as code deployments and the config management, so you get experience both ends. And then with Terraform you can just specifically focus on infrastructure as code, and yeah, I think that'll give you a very good foundation to go off. Anyways, I'm gonna get some food, clean up a little bit, and then I'll see you after I've had my post-workout meal. Cleaned up, now it's time to get the post-workout in. Check this out. I'm like Gordon Ramsay out here. So, naan bread, salad, even got some zucchini in there, some Moroccan Turkish inspired chicken, and some chips on the side. And this air fryer is literally a game changer. You can't go wrong with a nutritious and healthy meal. Keeps that brain ticking away, and that's what we engineers need. But if you want to see some more recipes, drop a comment. Calories are sitting at like 3,000 at the moment, so I've got plenty of room to play with, so I can just about eat anything I want, and I'm getting pretty creative in the kitchen. So yeah, drop a comment, because this isn't just a tech channel. We're going to do lifestyle as well, full gym, nutrition, everything all in one. So yeah, drop a comment what else you want to see, and I'll try to get in the videos. Check this out, this is looking good. Right, I'm going to enjoy this, and I'll catch you in the next clip where we're going to talk about the next set of tools. Ooh, back in the office, got my iced coffee to hand. Right, let's get into this. So, what have we covered? Cloud platforms, infrastructure as code, config management. Right, so the next set of tools I would probably focus on picking up is going to be pipelines. So your options here are going to be, well, they're going to be limited because there's not a huge amount. You've got Azure DevOps, Jenkins, and AWS Code Pipeline, I believe. I've not used AWS Code Pipeline. I've used Jenkins and Azure DevOps, and to be honest, Azure DevOps, I prefer it so much more than Jenkins. I'm not keen on the UI for Jenkins. The UI UX for Jenkins, yeah. It's just something that I don't really like, to be honest. And I like the way Azure DevOps integrates. I just like the way Azure DevOps is, to be honest, the way it looks. I find it easier to use. Just personal preference. But what you want to do now is to package up whatever you've been deploying. So your infrastructure as code, any config management you've had, so any server-side config you've been doing. You want to be able to deploy that via the click of a button really, so there's no manual steps involved. So when it comes to working with pipelines, you'll sort of touch on some other tools like getting familiar with GitHub repositories. You need a repository to store your code in. Your pipeline's going to pull from that repository. You may have optional variables that you're going to pass in during different steps of the pipelines itself. But at this stage, when you're just getting into it, trying to pick it up, I would just focus on just one repository that has a couple of files really, nothing more than that. I've just infrastructure as code. I'd keep the config management, like anything you've done with config management, whether that's Ansible, Chef, Puppet, keep that to the side for now, and just get the pipeline and deploy that resource. Once you've got through that phase, was deploying the resource successfully in whatever cloud platform you've picked, then you can maybe kick up another pipeline, and this runs your Ansible config management code. So if you want to make any changes to that server, this will do that, and then you can sort of get them to work hand in hand. So once one completes, the next one will trigger. So it's one click of a button, you're running your infrastructure as code on your first pipeline, and then once complete, the second pipeline will trigger. That will do your config management. Keep it nice, keep it simple. It's a learning experience. You're not trying to be an expert from day one. But yeah, that's what I'd focus on. Anyways, I'm gonna finish my iced coffee and focus on some personal projects. Got the day off today, so just do my own thing. Working on my own projects in the background. Hopefully I can release these to you soon. Currently everything's under wraps. Keeping real quiet about this. Fingers crossed it blows up as well. But yeah, I'll let you know how I get on, and I'll catch up with you later this evening actually. So 3 tips I've gave you so far, or 3 areas of focus I should say. That's probably the core that I would look at. That'll give you a nice foundation and definitely be able to get you a job as a junior DevOps engineer.
The next day.
I was supposed to do a summary last night and add some other thoughts to the back end of the video that I had about what you should be learning in your cloud journey to get your first position. But as you can see, I completely crashed out. It's currently 12 p.m. 12 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna get some breakfast and then I'll catch up with you guys. Semi 8.5 kilos, still bulking hard. Again, still hanging about, just getting very fluffy right now, but once I'm looking lean, it'll pay off. I'll be a lean machine. Yes. Couldn't help myself today. Got myself some breakfast and lunch basically. This is gonna cover both meals. So, you know, the standard Karuk chai. Damn, look at that. Omelette, masala beans, and some dal on the side. 2 paranthas as well. Banging.
Why hasn't somebody looked at the whole like market of like non-stims and they're like, there's literally nothing that is like the top of the range, like maxed out formula, and I just feel like stim-free formula doesn't exist. But it will. And it's crazy to me because it's literally as easy as like telling your manufacturer to do it, you do it to the gym, like come on, I'm gonna take this pre-workout down, I'm gonna sit around and just let it absorb into me, I'm gonna let it take me on, and I'm gonna go to the gym in a bit. Back in the office, nice coffee on deck. Lately I've been having it with the dark chocolate as well.
this bangs together. Perfect combo. Anyways, where were we? So yesterday we covered some of the basics, or what I think are the fundamentals that you need to know to get yourself a job as a junior DevOps engineer, junior cloud engineer. So the first one was getting familiar with the cloud platform, whichever one you want to pick. So the second skill set was something that would allow you to deploy your infrastructure to your chosen cloud platform as code. So that was either, my suggestions were either Terraform or Ansible. I know Ansible's hit and miss, and some companies prefer to use it for config management, but it's pretty handy when it comes to infrastructure deployment as well. And the third one was pipelines. Yeah, so the only other skill you really need is to be comfortable working with Linux or Windows servers. I'd recommend getting experience in both. When you're spinning up your resources in these clouds, you can choose what kind of VM you want, or EC2 instance if you're using AWS, whether that's Linux or Windows. But it's pretty easy to get familiar with just config around these servers, to be honest, and then just sort of understanding how to investigate any issues. A lot of this will come whilst you're on the job, so you don't need to go into it too much, but it's just getting familiar, get to know the basic Linux commands and PowerShell commands, and then that will set you on the right path, to be honest, once you're familiar with some basic commands. And from there, to be fair, once you've got the basic commands, you can maybe play around with scripts. So if you want to use like bash scripts for Linux, PowerShell scripts for Windows, I would just recommend playing around, moving files about, creating files, moving lines of code from one file to another, etc. Just basic stuff. Maybe even changing permissions on files. And that's it, you've got a basic understanding of scripting, basic understanding of cloud platforms, basic understanding of deploying infrastructure as code, some config management in there as well, and you've got a good foundation of pipelines, especially if you're able to deliver all this via pipelines, just in your own projects. I am currently going to continue editing this video with that mugshot. I'm going to edit this and then work on a personal project. It's a website I'm working on for myself, so I'm going to box that off and then trying to get ahead of deadlines on that. I'm always itching to do something though, so I'm working on my personal stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to reveal that to you soon. That's currently under wraps. I've been working on logos, all sorts of designs, etc. And yeah, got a holiday vlog coming soon as well. I got a holiday coming up soon, so if you want to see a holiday vlog, give me a shout. I'll show you me living that digital nomad life, traveling and working. Also, if you want to see more training footage, more videos of me in the kitchen, dropping recipes, some more nutritionals and stuff, like doing a deeper dive into nutrition, yeah, let me know, drop in the comments. Obviously, it is like a tech-focused channel, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to do it sort of where it's just full-on tutorials. YouTube really isn't a platform for that, for tutorials. More or less, I'm just going to be touching on tips and just career advice, really, for when it comes to getting jobs in the tech industry. So yeah, just drop a comment on what you want to see. Whether it's tech-related, lifestyle, gym, nutrition, holiday, anything you want, really. Drop a comment and I'll see if I can get it done. Anyways, like, subscribe, peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.